Hello YouTube, Jared here again with another video for you. Today I want to talk to you about trading and buying and selling used Warhammer models. About a year ago now, I decided to start getting into trading models and not just buying models new or the magazine subscription, the Hachette magazine I've talked about in the past. And so what I did is I set myself a budget. I took $500 from my tax return and I challenged myself to see what I could get with it. And so I used that money to buy models that I thought were a good deal used. So watching Facebook Marketplace and Discord, guys who were trying to sell off a lot of stuff for a very cheap price, or people who didn't know Warhammer but were just trying to get the models sold quickly, and buying lots and then restoring them, repairing them, cleaning them up, and then either keeping some of the models or selling some, and in some cases even making a profit. And so after almost a year of selling models, I now have quite a few free things essentially. And so this is my guide to how I got a lot of free Warhammer. I've probably got well over $1,000 in free miniatures. If you've followed my channel for a while, you know that I got about 2,000 points of Skaven essentially for free. And then I got almost 2,000 points of Tau for free. Plus a whole bunch of orcs that are now over 1,000 points. A stack of rhinos and a bunch of Space Marine bodies. So I'm going to show off some of the stuff that I've gotten via trading. And then I want to give you my 5-step plan for how to buy and sell Warhammer secondhand. And so I think there's some good best practices that I can share with you. So this will be my best practice guide, as well as just kind of a little show-off video of some of the cool things I've found. Starting off with our friend Captain Badruck here. I found this guy at the bottom of a bin that had been rescued from a garage sale lot. It was being sold on Facebook Marketplace. The bin was full of sprues. It cost $100 or so, maybe $200 if I remember right. About half the bin was garbage. It was empty sprues or just dried up paint and nasty glue. But mixed among there were some metal minis that I was able to sell, and then good old Captain Badruck. So he was worth it just by itself. That was probably one of the worst slots I got in terms of actual value in there. Most of the minis were very badly broken, but this guy was still in really good shape, and there'll be a few things from that lot mixed in. I've also had another lot earlier on where I was able to get our old friend Gazgul. Unfortunately, his little banner bearer garrote is missing, so I'll have to kit bash that. But then I also got the tank, the burner bomber, which I'm excited to paint up, and then the giant roller here. Don't run Badruck over. And so this right here was a really fun lot that I was able to purchase, and then the other half of that lot I sold, and I was able to sell for the same price as the lot. And so these 3 miniatures were essentially free. So I got the big truck for free. So that was really, really exciting as well. And then in one of the more recent lots, I was able to find this guy. This is the resin, now discontinued super cannon for the orcs. And it's got all its little bits right here. And this, technically, can go right here with the rest of the kit and built on. So I'm going to see what happens in next edition. But I very, very likely am thinking the guy who built this very nicely left this off for painting. But in a sense, I could also use it as a way to just mount this and maybe magnetize it so I could switch between the two of them and turn this into Captain Badruck's flagship, the super cannon driving vehicle. I have to come up with a cool name. So if you have a cool name for Captain Badruck's super cannon doom roller giant truck here, let me know it in the comments. I'd appreciate some good orky names. I know some of you are experts on orcs. So this is going to be a project come next edition. I'm going to be building Captain Badruck's giant doom vehicle, and I got all the little guys in here. And so that's been a lot of fun in the hobby. It's been really fun to get these models. So here are the 5 steps you need to know in order to start buying and selling models secondhand. The first step is you got to have a plan. Always go into everything with a plan. And I'll be showing off some of these models while I'm talking here, because These are really, really fun models and not kits you see every day. And we'll talk about why that is in just a minute here. So the first thing you want to do is build a plan. And that really starts with your budget. For me, it was $500. So I gave myself a $500 budget. And my goal is to make enough money to pay myself back $500. So in a sense, I made myself a loan for the next 2 years. And so last year I was able to pay myself back $250. And my goal this year is to make enough profit to pay myself back the other $250 so that my trading hobby can not just support my Warhammer hobby, but also be fully self-funded and be funded by itself. And so that is the goal. I'm halfway to that goal, and I'm super excited for that goal. So I've already paid myself back $250. Right now, my treasury is about $200, and I've got 2 or 3 kits worth $200 or $300 that are up on eBay at the moment of recording. So I'll sell on eBay sometimes, or I'll sell on Facebook Marketplace or Discord, but we'll get to that in a minute. So step 1 is set a budget for yourself, and step 2 is set a goal. What models do you want to collect? What models do you not want to collect? I'd recommend pick a few armies that you like, because you never know what you're going to find. If you only want one army, if you go into this and say, I'm only going to collect Age of Sigmar Daughters of Cain, and I'm only going to collect Gene Stealer Cult, my goodness, you're going to have a hard time, because not very many people are selling those 2 armies. Now, if you only want Space Marines, you might have a shot. You might, because a lot of people sell Space Marines, and there's a lot of Space Marines out there. But then you got to ask, do you want Firstborn or Primaris? Do you want the more eccentric chapters like Space Wolves and Dark Angels, or you just want standard generic successor chapter minis or Ultramarine heroes, or what do you want? So make yourself a list. For me, I have about 12 to 15 armies for Age of Sigmar and 12 to 15 armies for Warhammer 40K that are my choice. And so I have a very wide amount of armies. Now, this is important because you don't know what you're going to get, and you also don't know what you're going to sell. And so if you get a really good lot and it just doesn't sell, it's nice to be able to say, you know what, I'm just going to turn it into a project for myself and not get stuck with something you hate the look of. Because if you don't like a kit, you will inevitably sell it for less. If you really love a kit, you'll hold on to it a little bit longer and get your true value. But it's just a fair rule that if you don't like a kit, it's going to be harder for you to sell it, and be patient to get rid of it. So, and this is a very rare old orc kit that I managed to get. I'm not sure if this guy is actually from the Super Cannon, or I also got 2 boxes of the old Commandos. And so I'll open those up here in just a second. But I got a couple orcs to fiddle with and try to figure out how all this stuff fits together, because any kind of instructions are now unfortunately long gone. But it is kind of fun to look at all this stuff, you know? These are not kits you see every day. And as far as I can tell, these were not kits that were often purchased. It looks like this bit clipped on right there. Yep. And then maybe there was a pin here, because the pin might be gone, unfortunately. And then that might go onto that thing. Oh, no, no, no. Pin goes into this thing. Here it is. That seems to fit into that hole. Okay. These old kits are very finicky, but I'm sure it brings back some nostalgia for somebody watching this. I wasn't collecting Warhammer when this was a kit, but it is a very cool looking kit. I'm gonna have to Google around. You can find just about any set of instructions if you Google kit plus instructions. There's somebody on Reddit who's posted a picture of the instructions. So shout out to all the guys who scan and take pictures of every set of instructions for every single kit. Those guys are the real heroes of the hobby, especially for guys like me who are trying to collect old stuff. On that note, one of the most important things to do if you're trying to collect older kits, make sure you know about the Lexarcanium website. There's this website that has pictures of every single model by year, by army, for everything that's ever existed. And so you can go onto that website and find pictures of orc kits from 1994 or Astra Militarum units from 3rd edition. And so if you're looking at a used lot and you have no idea what you're looking at, that's how you look it up. So having some websites like that is useful, and then you can cross-reference it against eBay to try to find prices on the really old stuff. But here are some really old Forge World grots. Look how good the details on these guys are. That is impressive. For as old as these kits are, those are some really cool grots. This guy's got the ammo for the big cannon. Love it. So, step one is budget and set a goal. Know what you're willing to collect. Don't buy stuff that you can't stand the look of. If you really don't like an army, even if it's a good idea, it's a good deal, maybe you want to pass on it. Unless you have a buddy you know you can sell it to, but don't go buying stuff and then changing your mind and realizing, oh, I'm stuck now with this kit. Because what'll happen is you'll get sick of looking at it and sell it for more than sell it for less than it's worth. So that's step one. Step two is go on the hunt. Okay, yeah, these arms don't match this guy. Step two is go on the hunt. And so what you're looking for now is you got to decide where you're going to hunt. For me, it's Facebook Marketplace, eBay, a couple other websites. But in terms of where to find stuff to buy and trade, eBay, the local Discord group for my city, and mostly Facebook Marketplace are the best places to find stuff. The best part about Facebook Marketplace, you got to watch for occasional scammers or scalpers, but you're going to occasionally find deals from garage sale lots of people who don't know what Warhammer is, and they don't want to learn Warhammer. They don't want to have to sit there for hours and Google image search what the models are. They just want to sell it quickly. And so they're happy to give you a really good deal on it. Yep, that's what the commandos look like. So yeah, that is where these guys came from. Wow, look at this old sprue. That is nuts. So you can get some really, there's the punch crew. Okay, yes. Try to figure out this old kit. Man. Yes, so you can find some really good deals on Facebook Marketplace. Ooh, look at that Power Claw. Now we're talking. That is a vintage Forge World Power Claw and a really sweet looking backpack. Look at that thing. Oh, that's a Space Marine helmet too that he's captured. Nice. He's got the cigar. I got to bring this to life. This kit's got to find some use. I know the old commandos are long gone in terms of rules, but this is getting kit bashed into knobs or something. Because, man, there's some cool sculpts in here. Look at this. Look at that pose. Ooh. That's some good stuff right there. That's some good stuff. So, it is... and look at the tiny bases they're on. You would never put orcs on bases like that these days. That's funny. That's funny. It's great. It's making me forget what I'm talking about. It's so funny. All right, so you're on the hunt. You know where to go. Now, the number one most important thing, if you take anything away from this video, it's this. You're going to buy and sell. You got to be friendly. And so step three, you've planned, you've gone on the hunt, you found some deals that look good, you've done your research, you're looking at pictures and comparing them to the Lex Arcanium website. You're comparing them to eBay, marked as sold to see what the prices are like. And you're going, okay, that's a good lot. That's a good deal. Oftentimes, well, let me give you a good price breakdown. So MSRP kits are what happens when you're buying at the Games Workshop store. That's usually the worst deal. Friendly local game stores, 15% in the United States, and it's different in other countries. You're looking at about 20-30% discount for most used models, and then going down from there. If you want 40-50% off, Hachette magazine is about 40-50% off, and then anything under there you're looking at used, badly painted, damaged miniatures, and that's really where you find the best deals. That's what this is. These are painted fairly poorly. We got some broken stuff. I'll open it up in a second here, but models that are in really bad shape, you're looking at 60, 70, 80% off of what they originally cost. And that's where the deals are. And so as you're buying that stuff, the first and most important step is be friendly. You know, if somebody's got hundreds of old minis and they're just trying to sell them off and they're in bad shape, don't haggle them. Don't try to penny and nickel them. Oftentimes, if somebody's selling their old painted armies, it's because they really need the money. And, you know, if they're asking $120 for $500 of minis, give them $120. Like, don't like try to talk them down or price haggle everything. This is not a hobby to try to fight everybody for bottom dollar. Like, if somebody says they want 150, I look at it and say, is it worth 150? And I pay them 150. I'm never gonna ask somebody to lower the price for me. Now, I may ask them if they can throw something in, if they have stuff that's optional, or maybe not include something if I really don't want something. But for the most part, I try to make sure that whatever the asking price is, that's what I'm paying. So you wanna be a good buyer, a friendly buyer, and help people out. Especially if they're hurting for money or just trying to get rid of something, don't sit there and be a jerk. So don't be a jerk is just a good rule in life. So that's the most important step. As you're buying, reasonable prices, if they want to cut you a deal, that's awesome. I appreciate the deal, and don't try to like haggle them down anymore. So I'm a firm believer in that. I hate when you offer somebody a deal and they're ungrateful and they try to get even more money out of you. That's not very kind. So after that step, you've bought the lot, you got a whole bunch of minis, and it looks like this. You don't even know what, right? And now, here comes the next step. If you're buying and trading minis, you need to add value to the lot. All right? Don't just buy a lot and increase the price 20% and sell the lot. At that point, you're not doing anything for the hobby except for raising the price. And when GW raises the price 20%, you complain. Be honest with yourself. You do. And so don't go out and buy a used lot, raise the price 20 bucks and put it back up on the marketplace. That's a jerk move. What you want to do is if you're going to raise the price, you need to add some value. So if you're buying a lot like this that's mixed lot, organize it out and go, all right, what do we have here? What do we have to sort? Maybe you get some paint stripper and you strip the minis. If there's missing bases, replace the bases. If the weapons are broken, re-glue the weapons. If the heads are missing, replace the heads. But clean the stuff up, fix the stuff up, relabel the stuff so that everybody knows what it is and can do a search for it instead of just mixed lot. Now it's a lot with 10 intercessors and 5 assault intercessors and 10 flamers and whatever else. Here's a captain who's missing his crest. But put some work into fixing up the lot. If you do that, then it's fair for you to increase the price because you've added value. So what I do is when I buy a mixed lot, I find the stuff I want to keep, and then I always try to do some kind of repair or paint or something to improve the lot. At the very least, I'm going through and organizing, counting, figuring out what's in the lot, trying to complete squads. I got a whole drawer of bases. At the very least, I'm replacing some bases. But you fix the lot up, clean the lot off, find the iconically not so well done paint jobs and see what you want to keep and what you don't want to keep and figure out what's been kit bashed. This guy has a really cool Necron head on his shield. That's a fun kit bash. And so I've made other videos about how to clean paint off of miniatures. But bring some value to your lot and then figure out what you want to sell. Now, my goal is usually if I pay $200 for a large lot, find a couple things to keep and then sell everything else for $200 to $250. And this comes to the final step here. You've planned, you've hunted down a good deal, you've bought the deal, you've been really friendly about it, you upgraded it, you organized it, you cataloged, you added some value, and now you turn around to sell it. Don't be a scalper. That is so important. That is always my goal. Don't sell anything for MSRP that's not MSRP. If you get a good deal, you get 50, 60, 70% off, turn around and give the next guy at least 20, 30, 40% off so that they get a good deal too. If you get a good deal, then you fix it up and give the next guy a good deal too. You're just contributing to a better hobby for everyone. And so if I get a whole bunch of miniatures, especially like a yard sale lot where it's just a bulk buy, and I can split it into 4 lots and sell it, I want to make sure that the next guy gets some models. I just sold a bunch of Firstborn Dark Angels, and I was able to sell it and give the guy a really good discount. It was half the price of what he would have paid on eBay, and he was really, really happy for the deal. So I made a small finder's fee, and I organized and cleaned him up and replaced the bases for him, and then he got a really good deal, and everyone was happy. The person selling was happy, I was happy, and my buyer was happy. And that's really what this hobby's about. It's about helping each other out and helping people find the minis that they really want to find. And so as you're going through, it's really nice when you find sprues too and old upgrade bits. So this guy right here has got a big missing piece, but I've got a piece that's similar enough that I can fit it on here and repair him. So this mini's on my list to repair, and I've already stripped his paint. I found a Dark Angel's book, this little bit right here. And then somewhere in here, I have a chaplain who's missing the book off of his bike. And so I'll be able to replace that. And I have Hellbrick here, but he's complete. And I've already stripped his paint, but he's missing his little candelabra. And so if you buy the upgrade kit, you get some pieces that can replace the candelabra. And so it's nice to be able to kind of clean up and fix up these old kits. And so that's the goal here, is to start restoring miniatures, and you'll be amazed at how much money you can make once you start restoring miniatures. Oh, this is the medic that I fixed up. See, he was missing his tools, but the kit comes with 2 sets of tools. So when I got one for my birthday, I had an extra set of tools. And so I fixed up this old miniature. And then he's going to be for my Black Templars eventually. And so I replaced the missing piece here with a Black Templar signal. And now it looks like it's supposed to look like that. So it's really fun to fix up old kits and breathe life in new miniatures that were since dinged up. So instead of this stuff going into the trash and becoming waste, it gets to join my army and to live on again and fight again and see the tabletop again and see a new fresh coat of paint. So there's something really special about restoring miniatures. And then, as I mentioned in another video, rhinos are kind of the trade currency too. If all else fails, you can trade somebody for some rhinos. And so try to give everybody a good deal. I have extra paints and hobby supplies. I'll throw in some upgrade bits or upgrade sprues just to make the deal a little more fair if I'm doing trades. Sometimes I trade kits for other kits that I want. Oftentimes that's what I'm doing. And then occasionally I'm just straight selling kits if it's what somebody wants. But my goal is, when I'm doing a trade, I want to give everybody I'm trading at least 30% off MSRP. If it's a really old discontinued kit, I want to give them at least 30% off of average eBay price, so that everybody gets a really good deal and has a really good experience and can get more kits for their hobby dollars and kind of help people out. And so if that's how you approach this, not to be a scalper, not to drive the prices up, because we all hate when the prices of Warhammer go up, but if you use buying and selling as a way to help other people and to lift other painters and collectors, you'll do a lot better. And so that's my advice for you for the day. If you want to get into Warhammer trading, give everybody a good deal and you'll get a good deal. Be friendly and kind, and people will be willing to work with you, and maybe toss a few more goodies in there. I have bags and bags of upgrade sprues, so I'm able to improve models. You can go on eBay and buy bulk bases for pennies on the dollar and then use those for repairs. And so I like to replace the bases on my minis sometimes and give people better bases, especially if the bases are all really chewed up. Like you can see, this guy's base is kind of nasty, so I don't mind it. I'll spray paint over it and it'll be fine. But sometimes I'll replace nasty bases with nice bases for my trades, just to be a positive influence in the hobby. And so hopefully this video has inspired you to go out and find a good deal. I've gotten well over $1,000 in free product by buying and trading in the last year, probably closer to $2,000 if you were to take the broken stuff all the way back to MSRP. But you can get a lot of free Warhammer if you're willing to trade, if you're friendly, if you cut people a deal. If you work with people, people will work with you. And the people in the Warhammer hobby are some of the nicest people. I'm in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, the DFW area, and there's a really active trade scene. I've met so many awesome people. If you're watching this channel and you've gotten to trade with me before, you were awesome. I've never had a bad experience with anybody. Everybody in this hobby has been so awesome. And I love talking to people in all the local shops, and I love trading with everybody and helping you find a good deal and helping me find a good deal and building all my crazy armies. And so it's a lot of fun, and I'm looking forward to building more armies and doing more trades. So hopefully this video's been inspiring for you and giving you some good tips. Thank you for watching. As always, if you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe. I'm always trying to make more videos and do what I can to be a more positive voice in this hobby and help people find a good deal. So thanks for watching. Have a great day.